Early morning. A soft beam of sunlight filters through the sheer white curtains, casting a golden glow over an oversized bed draped in silky sheets. The room is spacious but eerily silent. Everything here exudes an air of luxury. Dark-toned furniture, warm ambient lighting reflecting off pristine glass surfaces, an abstract painting on the wall that adds an unexplainable sense of mystery. Before we begin the story, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Amidst this picture-perfect setting, a woman slowly opens her eyes. Sophia Hamilton is 28 years old, a talented fashion designer, independent and strong-willed, but still healing from a painful past. Sophia Hamilton's head throbs like it's about to explode. Her throat is dry, her eyes sting from the sudden light. She frowns, trying to focus on her surroundings. But the more she looks, the harder her heart pounds. This is not her small apartment in Camden. No paint-stained sketchbooks, no scattered designs waiting to be finalized. So where is she? The first shock. She's wearing a man's shirt. Sophia sits up abruptly. A chilling sensation rushes over her skin. She looks down. She's only wearing an oversized men's dress shirt. The fabric is soft, the scent unfamiliar yet intoxicating, a blend of sandalwood and coffee. She tugs the shirt closer to her body, her pulse racing. What the hell happened last night? She presses her fingers to her temple, forcing herself to remember. But all she gets is a jumbled mess of fleeting images. A bar in Soho. Loud music pulsing through the air, her third cocktail held loosely in her hand. A man with a sleazy grin leaning in too close. Then, nothing. A total blank. Sophia's hands tremble as she pushes the blanket aside. Her bare feet hit the cold hardwood floor, sending a shiver up her spine. Her gaze sweeps the room. Everything looks immaculate, sleek, and expensive, with no sign of any chaos. But then, her eyes lock onto something that sends ice through her veins. Near the black leather sofa, beside a small metallic trash bin, a crumpled black cocktail dress, her high heels tossed carelessly on top, the fabric stained with a sharp, pungent scent of alcohol. Sophia freezes. That's her dress. A sickening wave of nausea rises in her throat. Why are her clothes in the trash? Who changed her? Just then, a low, deep voice, calm yet tinged with amusement, breaks the silence from across the room. You're finally awake? Sophia jerks in shock, spinning around. A man stands by a sleek bookshelf, his arms crossed over his chest. He's tall, broad-shouldered, and effortlessly composed in a crisp black shirt, the top button undone. One hand holds a steaming cup of coffee, the aroma mixing with the faint scent of rain outside. His jet-black hair is neatly swept back, but it's his eyes that make Sophia's breath hitch, a piercing, icy blue gaze that seems to see right through her. He doesn't look surprised to see her panic. In fact, there's a flicker of amusement in his gaze. Sophia instinctively steps back, her voice coming out uneven. Who are you? The man takes a slow sip of his coffee before setting the mug down on a glass table. Me? He tilts his head slightly. I'm the one who pulled you out of the mess you got yourself into last night. Mess? Sophia repeats, trying to grasp his words. The man watches her, his expression unreadable but undeniably curious. You really don't remember? He asks, his deep voice laced with a trace of mockery. Sophia shakes her head, desperately searching her memory, but all she finds is emptiness. He exhales slowly, as if he expected this. Then you should consider yourself lucky, Sophia Hamilton. Sophia goes completely still. He knows her name? Her pulse quickens. Who is this man? Why is she here? What happened last night? A chilling sensation creeps down Sophia's spine. Every instinct in her body is screaming. Something is wrong. She has no memory of how she got here, but she needs to find out the truth. In front of her, the mysterious man slowly pulls a business card from his pocket and places it on the table. Oliver Grayson, CEO, Grayson Company. Sophia stares at the name, her breath catching in her throat. This man is Oliver Grayson, the ruthless CEO of the biggest luxury fashion conglomerate in London? She can't believe it. Before she can say another word, Oliver picks up his coffee, casting her a knowing glance. If you really want to know what happened, I suggest you sit down and listen. The morning light shifts across the sleek marble floor, bouncing off the floor-to-ceiling windows that showcase London's skyline. The city hums softly in the background, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside this penthouse. Sophia grips the edges of the oversized shirt, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. She's not the type to lose control, not in her career, not in her relationships, not in her life. Yet here she is, in a stranger's bed, with no recollection of how she got here. And that stranger? He's staring at her like she's nothing more than an interesting inconvenience. Oliver Grayson leans against the wall, effortlessly composed. Tall, broad-shouldered. A presence so sharp it feels like he could cut through steel. His piercing blue eyes flicker with an unreadable emotion as he takes a slow sip of coffee. He's in control. She's not. And she hates it. Sophia isn't just another woman waking up in the wrong place. She's Sophia Hamilton, one of the most promising young fashion designers in London. At 28, she's already won the Outstanding Young Designer Award at the British Fashion Awards, securing her reputation as a creative force. But the truth is, she's barely holding it together. 1 month ago, she walked in on her ex-fiancé, Lucas Carter, with another woman. 4 years of love, trust, and dreams shattered in a single night. Since then, she's thrown herself into work, convincing herself that success will numb the pain. But last night she let go, and now she's paying for it. Oliver watches her from across the room. His movements are deliberate, every inch of him exuding power and control. He's the kind of man who never raises his voice, because he doesn't need to. Chief Executive Officer of Grayson Company, billionaire, ruthless, feared. His name alone can make or break careers in the fashion industry. And yet, last night, this fashion mogul, who never gets involved in messy personal affairs, found himself in the middle of Sophia Hamilton's disaster. And now, she's standing in front of him, fire in her eyes, wearing his shirt, demanding answers. Sophia folds her arms, trying to regain control of the situation. "All right," she says, voice firm despite the chaos in her mind. "What the hell happened last night?" Oliver sets his coffee down with a quiet clink. His expression is unreadable, but there's a flicker of something in his gaze. Amusement? "You really don't remember?" he asks, his voice smooth but detached. Sophia's patience snaps. "Number, and I'd appreciate if you stopped smirking like this is funny." Oliver finally sighs, slipping his hands into his pockets. "You were drunk. Very drunk. You nearly got yourself into trouble." Sophia's stomach twists. "What kind of trouble?" Oliver studies her, like he's debating whether to tell her the full story. Finally, he speaks. "You were at the Velvet Room in Soho, alone. A few men thought you were an easy target." He tilts his head slightly. "You shoved one of them away, but you weren't exactly steady on your feet." Sophia grips the hem of his shirt tighter. A flash of memory. A greasy-haired man reaching for her wrist, her stumbling backward, the smell of cheap cologne. Her breath quickens. "I handled it," Oliver continues casually, as if this is just another business transaction. But not before you threw up all over my jacket. Silence. Sophia blinks. I did what? Oliver raises an eyebrow. You vomited on me. My favorite Armani jacket, to be precise. Sophia feels her soul leave her body. Her face burns as she slowly buries it in her hands. Oh my God. Oliver shrugs. Then you passed out. I couldn't just leave you in that state, so I brought you here. Brought her here? Sophia snaps her head up. Wait, so you… Oliver doesn't even blink. Yes, I had to change you. You were covered in your own mess. Sophia lets out a horrified squeak. You changed me? Oliver's lips twitch. Not quite a smile, but close. Relax. I was gentleman enough to look away. Sophia groans, pressing her fingers to her temples. She, Sophia Hamilton, had officially hit rock bottom. Determined to leave this mortifying situation behind, Sophia marches toward the door. Okay, well, thanks for saving me, but I need to go. She stops cold. Her dress is still in the trash. Her shoes are ruined. And her phone? Nowhere to be found. She turns back, hesitantly. I don't suppose you have my phone? Oliver picks up an expensive-looking leather wallet from the counter and casually tosses it toward her. She barely catches it. Inside, her phone, credit cards, and ID. I kept it safe, he says smoothly. Wouldn't want you losing more than your dignity in one night. Sophia glares. Gee, thanks. Oliver glances at his watch. Your clothes are ruined. You can either borrow something from me or… He gestures toward the trash can. Sophia clenches her jaw. No way in hell is she wearing her alcohol-soaked disaster of a dress. Fine. She huffs. Give me something. Oliver walks into his wardrobe and tosses her a neatly folded black shirt and sweatpants. Bathroom's down the hall. Sophia snatches the clothes, stomping toward the bathroom. She's going to get out of here and forget this ever happened. But as she shuts the door behind her, a realization hits her like a truck. The name Oliver Grayson sounds familiar. Too familiar. Her heart pounds. Sophia unlocks her phone and Googles his name. Within seconds, her screen fills with headlines. Oliver Grayson, the most powerful CEO in fashion. The ruthless billionaire behind luxury empire Grayson & Co. The man who decides the future of the industry. Sophia stares at the screen, her stomach twisting. This isn't just some random guy who helped her out. This man is the CEO of the company she's about to start working for. Her new boss. Sophia grips the sink, breathing hard. What the hell has she gotten herself into? The sleek, glass-walled conference room of Grayson & Company is a far cry from the chaotic penthouse scene of the night before. Here, everything is calculated. Pristine, sharp, controlled, just like its CEO. Sophia adjusts her blazer, inhaling sharply. Today is her first day at Grayson & Company, one of the most prestigious fashion conglomerates in the industry. This job is her fresh start, the chance to prove that she doesn't need Lucas Carter or anyone else to build her future. But the moment she steps into the room, her breath catches in her throat. At the head of the long, polished table sits Oliver Grayson, the same man whose penthouse she woke up in just hours ago. The same man who saw her at her absolute lowest. The same man who is now her boss. Oliver's icy blue gaze meets hers, unreadable. His expression? Utterly detached, like she's a complete stranger. And that infuriates her. The room is filled with some of the top executives in the industry. Sophia takes her seat, determined to act natural. Oliver's voice is sharp as he addresses the team. Let's discuss the new project. A massive deal is on the table, a high-profile collaboration with a European luxury brand. And just as Sophia begins to relax, Oliver drops a bombshell. Ms. Hamilton, you'll be leading this project. Silence. Sophia's head snaps up. Her mind races. She was expecting to start small, maybe shadow someone for a few weeks. But leading a project of this scale? On day one? It's a test. A power move. Sophia meets Oliver's gaze, refusing to back down. I'm ready, she says evenly. Oliver tilts his head slightly, as if assessing her reaction. Good, because failure is not an option. The challenge is clear. He's waiting for her to slip up. Days pass, and the tension only intensifies. Oliver throws near impossible deadlines at Sophia. Late-night emails, last-minute changes, ruthless critiques. Yet she doesn't break. She fights back, challenges his decisions, stands her ground in meetings, and that gets under his skin. One evening, after a grueling 10-hour workday, Sophia storms into Oliver's office. Are you intentionally trying to make me fail? She demands, arms crossed. Oliver leans back in his chair, unfazed. I don't believe in setting people up for failure, Ms. Hamilton, he says smoothly, only in proving whether they belong here or not. Sophia's jaw tightens. You're underestimating me. Oliver stands, stepping closer. His presence is overwhelming. Am I? He murmurs, watching her carefully. The air shifts. For a split second, the frustration between them feels like something else entirely. Something charged. Something unspoken. Sophia snaps out of it first. I'm not going anywhere, Mr. Grayson. She turns on her heel and walks out, leaving Oliver watching after her. For the first time in a long time, he feels intrigued. That weekend, Grayson Company is hosting an exclusive charity gala, a massive networking opportunity, a chance for Sophia to make an impression on some of the biggest names in the industry. But there's one problem. Sophia's +1 for the event was supposed to be Lucas Carter. Now, she has no one. And just as she's about to decline the invitation, her phone buzzes. Oliver Grayson. Be ready by 7. I'll pick you up. Sophia stares at the message. What the hell is he up to? The weeks that follow are tense, exhausting, and strangely electrifying. Sophia and Oliver continue their silent battle, a war waged through sharp remarks, unspoken challenges, and the unrelenting weight of expectations. At the Grayson Company headquarters, the air between them is always thick with tension. Yet something is changing. It's in the way Oliver's gaze lingers just a second too long when Sophia presents her designs. It's in the way Sophia notices his sleeves rolled up, his hands gripping a sketch with unusual intensity. It's in the way their arguments now feel less like battles and more like an unspoken dance. Neither of them acknowledges it. But it's there, simmering beneath the surface. A Wednesday afternoon. Sophia and Oliver stand in the private showroom of Grayson Company, surrounded by swatches of silk, velvet, and cashmere. The space is hushed, the only sounds being the occasional scratch of a pen on a notepad and the distant hum of London's traffic outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. Sophia, lost in thought, reaches for a fabric sample at the same moment Oliver does. Their fingers brush. A spark. Instant. Electric. Sophia sucks in a breath, eyes flickering up to meet Oliver's. For a brief moment, the CEO of Grayson Company is not the cold, untouchable man everyone fears. He is just a man, standing close enough that she can see the faint shadow of exhaustion beneath his eyes. The air stretches, thick and charged. And then, Oliver clears his throat, withdrawing his hand like he's been burned. Focus, Ms. Hamilton, he says, voice lower than usual. Sophia nods quickly, looking away, but the warmth of that brief contact lingers on her skin. It's past midnight when Sophia finally pushes back from her desk, rubbing tired eyes. She had planned to leave hours ago, but the upcoming launch is demanding perfection. She stands, stretching, when she notices something surprising. Oliver is still here. He's seated at his large glass desk, reading over documents with an almost unnatural focus. The harsh light from the desk lamp casts sharp angles across his face, highlighting the tension in his jaw. For a man who commands an empire, he looks alone. Sophia hesitates. Then, without thinking, she moves to the break room and returns a few minutes later with 2 cups of coffee. Setting one down on his desk, she says casually, "If you die from exhaustion, who will torment me at work?" Oliver looks up, surprised. For the first time, he doesn't have a retort ready. Instead, he studies her. And then, slowly, he reaches for the coffee. "You think I torment you?" Sophia smirks. "Constantly." A pause. Then, in a moment so fleeting she almost misses it, Oliver Grayson smiles. It's barely there. Just the smallest quirk of his lips, gone in an instant. But Sophia sees it. And for reasons she doesn't want to examine, it makes her chest tighten. After that night, something is different. Their interactions remain sharp, but the edges are softer now. Oliver is still ruthless in the boardroom, still exacting in his critiques. But then there are moments. Moments where he notices when she skips lunch and casually orders extra food at the next meeting. Moments where Sophia catches herself thinking about his hands, the way he grips his pen, the way his voice dips when he's lost in thought. Moments where she tells herself this is just professional respect, that this is not attraction. Yet, the lie sits heavy in her chest. Because deep down, she knows. Something is happening between them. Something she can't ignore. The boardroom is filled with the crisp scent of fresh paper and faint traces of cologne lingering in the air. The atmosphere is tense, the kind of silence that exists just before the moment of truth. All eyes are on Sophia Hamilton, standing at the front of the room, her posture perfectly poised, yet her fingers are clenched tightly around the laser pointer. She takes a slow breath, scanning the room. The last slide of her presentation flickers on the screen. A sleek, multi-million-dollar proposal for one of the biggest fashion houses in Europe. A deal that, if secured, would solidify Grayson Company as an unstoppable force in the industry. Then, silence. A beat. Then, applause erupts. It starts from the left side of the room, then spreads like wildfire. The CEO of the European company stands up first, a satisfied smile stretching across his lips. "Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I have no further questions." Relief floods through Sophia's veins, but she maintains her composure. This is her moment. Her win. She steals a glance at the one person whose reaction truly matters. Oliver Grayson. He hasn't moved. Seated at the far end of the table, dressed in his signature black tailored suit, his expression is unreadable. His fingers are laced together, his face impassive as always. But then, just before the room starts to clear, he stands up and walks straight toward her. For a moment, Sophia braces herself for one of his cold, clipped remarks. Instead, Oliver extends his hand. "Sophia." His voice is calm, but there's something else lurking beneath it, something almost imperceptible. His fingers close around hers, firm, warm, steady. A pause, too long for a mere handshake, and for the briefest second, just a flicker, his thumb brushes lightly over her knuckles. Sophia forgets how to breathe. 1,000 unspoken things hang in the air between them. But before she can find her voice, a voice from behind her shatters the moment. "Congratulations, sweetheart." The blood drains from Sophia's face. Her fingers fall away from Oliver's. She turns slowly, and there he is. Lucas Carter, her ex-boyfriend. the man who once owned her heart, only to shatter it into irreparable pieces. He looks just as she remembers. Impeccable suit, disarming smile, and that effortless confidence that always made him seem invincible. But now, there's something else in his eyes. Regret. Deep. Heavy. Unmistakable. Oliver says nothing. He simply watches, his expression unchanged, yet the air between them thickens. Sophia forces herself to speak, her voice steady but cold. "What are you doing here, Lucas?" Lucas smirks, stepping forward with the ease of someone who doesn't believe he's unwelcome. "I came to see you." She stiffens. Oliver still hasn't moved. His gaze flickers, not at Lucas, but at Sophia. She feels it, the weight of his stare, the unspoken question he won't ask. Lucas doesn't notice. He leans in, lowering his voice. "I made a mistake, Sophia." Her stomach twists. No, not now. Not here. Not in front of Oliver. Sophia isn't sure when Oliver moved, but suddenly he's beside her. His presence is quiet, controlled, but impossible to ignore. Lucas notices him now. His smirk widens slightly, as if he's just realized something. "Oh." He chuckles, glancing at Oliver. "You must be the famous Oliver Grayson." Oliver's expression remains unreadable. He doesn't shake hands. He doesn't acknowledge the introduction. He doesn't even speak. His eyes, however, are locked solely on Sophia. And she knows. He saw the hesitation in her eyes, the way her breath hitched when Lucas spoke. For the first time since she's known him, Oliver turns away first and walks out of the room. The cafe scene, a perfectly timed misunderstanding. 2 days later, Sophia agrees to meet Lucas for coffee. Not because she wants to, but because she needs closure. Lucas says all the right things. He tells her he regrets losing her, that he never stopped thinking about her, that he's a different man now. Sophia doesn't believe him. But when Lucas reaches across the table and gently takes her hand, she doesn't pull away fast enough. And that's when Oliver walks in. He sees it. He sees Lucas's hand wrapped around hers. He sees her hesitation. And for the first time, he doesn't fight for her. He simply turns around and walks away. By the time Sophia returns to the office, everything has changed. Oliver is colder than she's ever seen him. Meetings are short. Conversations are strictly business. His eyes, which once held something unspoken, now hold nothing at all. He doesn't look at her anymore. It's as if she doesn't exist. Sophia wants to explain, wants to tell him that he got it wrong, that Lucas means nothing. But Oliver doesn't give her the chance. And for the first time since they met, since she started working at Grayson Company, Sophia Hamilton feels like a stranger to Oliver Grayson. Sophia had imagined many things would happen after her victory with the project. But this coldness, this unspoken wall between her and Oliver, she never saw it coming. Days have passed, but the tension in the air only grows thicker. Oliver doesn't acknowledge her, not in the hallways, not in meetings, not even in passing glances. He moves through the office as if she's invisible, and it kills her. She isn't sure what's worse, his silence, or the fact that he was once the only person she wanted to listen to. Sophia throws herself into work, because what else can she do? But even work doesn't feel the same anymore. Every meeting is a battlefield where Oliver acts like she doesn't exist. Every conversation is a reminder that she is being punished for something she doesn't understand. Every second spent near him feels like she's suffocating under something unspoken. And the worst part? She isn't the only one noticing. It starts with whispers, soft at first, then growing louder. She and Oliver barely talk anymore. Think she messed up? Maybe he's finally getting bored of her. She pretends she doesn't hear. But she does. And every word cuts deeper than she cares to admit. Then comes the final straw. Friday morning, Sophia arrives at the office to find a thick folder on her desk. Her name is written across the front in Oliver's sharp, precise handwriting. She hesitates before opening it. Then, her stomach twists. A new project, a massive one that would normally take a team of 5, and he's given it to her alone. The deadline? Unrealistic. The expectations? Borderline impossible. The weight of it? Enough to break anyone. This isn't a project. This is a test, a punishment. Sophia slams the folder shut. For the first time, anger replaces confusion. Does he think she's weak? That she'll crack under pressure? That she doesn't deserve the success she fought for? Fine. If Oliver Grayson wants a fight, she'll give him one. That night, the office is silent. The skyline glows beyond the windows, casting soft gold light onto the empty desks. Sophia refuses to leave. She works through every detail of the project, line by line, design by design, refusing to let this be what destroys her, until the elevator dings. Footsteps, slow, purposeful. Oliver. He stops at the doorway, his silhouette framed by the soft city lights. For a moment, he just watches her. Sophia feels his gaze before she even looks up. And when she does, her breath catches. His face is unreadable, but his eyes, they betray something else. Something raw, something conflicted, something he doesn't want to feel. She forces herself to break the silence first. You gave me this project to see if I'd fail. Oliver's jaw tightens. He says nothing. Sophia stands, pushing her chair back with just enough force to make a point. You're angry. I get it. Her voice is steady, but her chest feels like it's caving in. But I won't let you punish me for something I didn't do. Oliver scoffs, but it's quiet, like he's holding something back. I'm not punishing you, he says, voice clipped. I'm testing you. Sophia takes a step forward. Why? A beat. Oliver exhales sharply, running a hand through his hair, his fingers tightening briefly at the base of his neck. Because I need to know. Sophia's stomach drops. Know what? Oliver's gaze flickers, to her lips, to her hands, to the way her breath is unsteady. Then, back to cold detachment. If you can handle being here. Sophia flinches, and just like that, the distance between them isn't just physical anymore. It's a chasm. And Oliver? He just made it wider. By the time Sophia storms to Oliver's office the next night, she's done. Done with the silence, done with the games, done with letting him slip further away. She doesn't knock. She just pushes the door open, heart pounding in her throat. Oliver looks up from behind his desk, his hand stilling over some paperwork. His expression? Blank, as if she's nothing more than an interruption. And that hurts more than anything else. Talk to me, Sophia demands, voice shaking. Tell me what you're thinking. Right now, Oliver leans back in his chair, crosses his arms. And then, he says the thing that nearly breaks her. I don't care about your personal life, Sophia. The words hit her like a slap. Her breath catches. He doesn't mean that. He can't. She waits for him to take it back. But Oliver just stares at her, his face completely devoid of emotion. The worst part? She believes him. And in that moment, she knows. She lost him. The rain was relentless. It pounded against the glass windows of the restaurant, turning the city outside into a blurry haze of headlights and neon. Inside, Sophia sat frozen, her fingers clenched around the fabric of her dress. Across from her, Lucas was still talking, his voice soft, regretful, careful. but she barely heard a word. Her heart was pounding too loud, because she knew what he was about to say, knew why he had asked her to meet him, and she wasn't wrong. "Sophia," he said, reaching across the table, his fingers brushing against her wrist. A touch that once felt familiar, but now felt wrong. "I made a mistake." A long pause, the sound of rain filling the silence between them. Lucas exhaled sharply, his eyes searching hers. "I want you back." The words hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to break. Sophia's breath caught. There it was. The moment she had once longed for, the moment she had once dreamed of, but now it felt like a prison. She had spent months aching over Lucas, thinking she had lost something irreplaceable. And yet, sitting across from him now, she felt nothing. No spark, no longing, no ache, only the sharp, unmistakable realization that she was already lost, to someone else. She swallowed hard, pulling her hand away. Lucas blinked. "Sophia?" She shook her head, voice barely above a whisper. "I can't." His face twisted in confusion. "What do you mean?" She clenched her fists, trying to find the words, trying to make him understand, trying to make herself understand. But the truth was simple. Painfully, devastatingly simple. She didn't love him anymore, not the way she used to, not the way she loved someone else. Her voice broke when she spoke. "I don't feel the same anymore, Lucas." A long silence. Then Lucas laughed, a hollow, disbelieving sound. "You're lying." Sophia stiffened. Lucas leaned forward, his expression tightening. "You loved me, Sophia. I know you did." She closed her eyes. "I did. But not anymore. Not since him." Lucas's jaw tensed. "Who is he?" Sophia's eyes flew open. Lucas leaned back in his chair, jaw clenched, eyes darkening. "There's someone else, isn't there?" She didn't answer, but she didn't have to. Her silence was enough. Lucas exhaled slowly, looking down at his hands, shaking his head. "I see." She wished she could say something to make it better, but there was nothing left to say. So she did the only thing she could. She stood up, grabbed her coat, and walked out, and she didn't look back. The city was a blur outside the rain-streaked windows of the taxi. Sophia barely noticed. Her heart was pounding too fast. Because now she had to face the real battle. Lucas was never the problem, not really. The problem was Oliver. The problem was that she had let him believe a lie, and now she had to fix it. Her phone trembled in her hand. She stared at Oliver's name on the screen, her thumb hovering over the call button. But she knew. She knew he wouldn't answer, knew he'd let it ring and pretend he didn't care. No. She had to see him. She had to look him in the eyes and tell him the truth. Tell him it was always him. Oliver's apartment, a door that wouldn't open. The rain had soaked through her clothes by the time she reached his building. She ignored the curious stares from the doorman, ignored the shiver running through her. All she cared about was getting to him. To Oliver. To the man she couldn't lose. The elevator ride was too long. The walk down the hallway was too slow. And then, she was there. Standing in front of his door, her chest rising and falling in frantic, uneven breaths. Her hand hovered. Then she knocked. Once. Twice. Silence. She knocked again, louder this time. Nothing. Her stomach twisted. She pressed her palm flat against the door, her voice cracking. "Oliver, please." Still. Nothing. She squeezed her eyes shut. He was home. She could feel it. Could feel his presence on the other side of that door, standing there in the dark, refusing to open it, refusing to hear her. I turned him down. She wasn't sure why she said it out loud. Maybe it was for herself. Maybe it was for him. Maybe it was for the space between them that felt too big, too empty, too broken. Her voice trembled. I turned him down, Oliver. Still nothing. A tear slipped down her cheek. And then, the lock clicked. Slow, deliberate. The door cracked open just enough to reveal him. Oliver, standing there in the dim light, his eyes shadowed, his expression unreadable, but she could see it. See the way his fingers curled into fists. See the way his jaw tensed. See the way he was barely holding himself together. Her chest tightened. Oliver? A long silence. Then his voice. Low. Rough. Don't. Her breath hitched. Don't what? His fingers gripped the edge of the door like he was trying to keep himself from reaching for her. Don't stand here in the rain and tell me what I want to hear. Sophia's throat tightened. This isn't what you want to hear. She took a breath, then whispered. It's the truth. For a moment, he didn't move. Didn't blink, didn't breathe. Then, he reached for her, and everything broke. The hallway was silent, save for the sound of rain pounding against the windows. Sophia stood drenched, shaking, breathless. Her dress clung to her like a second skin, her soaked hair plastered against her face. But she didn't care. None of it mattered. Not the cold. Not the way her shoes squelched with every step. Not the way her heart was threatening to break inside her chest. Because Oliver was right there, standing in the doorway. Expression frozen, guarded, unreadable. She could see the storm raging not just outside, but in his eyes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The weight of too many unspoken words, too many misunderstandings, too much pain pressed between them like an invisible force. And then, Sophia's breath caught, because Oliver's fingers tightened against the doorframe. He was about to close it. She panicked. No. Her voice cracked, raw, desperate. No, you don't get to do this. Oliver stilled, his jaw tensed, his fingers curled into fists. But he said nothing. His silence. A dagger to her chest. Sophia took a step forward, her pulse hammering against her ribs. Her throat burned, but she forced herself to speak. To say the words that should have been said long ago. I never chose him, Oliver. His expression didn't change, but she saw it. The flicker in his eyes. A flicker of doubt, a flicker of hope. She swallowed, her voice trembling. You saw what you wanted to see. A sharp breath. But you never asked me. You never gave me the chance to tell you the truth. Oliver exhaled, slow and measured, but his shoulders remained stiff. And what is the truth, Sophia? His voice was low, unsteady, like he was terrified of the answer. Sophia's heart pounded. The words bubbled up, uncontrollable, and then they spilled out, that it was always you. A beat of silence, a breath of hesitation, and then everything broke. Oliver moved before he even realized it, his hands fisted into the front of her dress, pulling her forward. And suddenly, his lips were on hers. Desperate, messy, completely, utterly inevitable. Sophia gasped into his mouth, fingers gripping the soaked fabric of his shirt, her whole body collapsing into him. And for the first time in what felt like forever, she could breathe again. The rain slammed down around them, their bodies pressed together beneath the weight of the storm. It was reckless, it was chaotic, it was everything they had been holding back for too damn long. His hands slid to her waist, pulling her impossibly closer. She tilted her head, deepening the kiss, pouring every word she could never say into it. I love you. I need you. I'm sorry. Oliver's grip tightened, like he was afraid she'd disappear. Like if he let go, she'd be gone. And for the first time, Sophia let herself fall into him. Into this. Into everything they had spent so long fighting against. The storm raged, their bodies burned, and the past washed away in the rain. When Oliver finally pulled back, they were both breathless. His forehead pressed against hers, his chest rising and falling rapidly, his hands still gripping her like he couldn't believe she was real. She opened her eyes, meeting his gaze, and for the first time, there was no hesitation, no coldness, no distance, just raw, unfiltered emotion. Oliver's voice was hoarse when he spoke. "You're soaked." Sophia let out a shaky laugh, her fingers still curled around his collar. "I don't care." Oliver exhaled, pressing a kiss to her temple before murmuring against her skin. "Then get inside before you get sick." And just like that, the door finally closed, but this time, with her on the inside. Sophia woke up to the warmth of sunlight streaming through the curtains. For the first time in weeks, she felt at peace. She turned her head and saw Oliver lying beside her, his breathing deep, his expression relaxed in sleep. It was such a rare sight. The usually composed, unreadable CEO looked almost vulnerable. She traced the line of his jaw with her eyes, her heart swelling. Last night had been a storm of emotions, a battle of pride and misunderstandings, but in the end, he had chosen her, and she had chosen him. But as the warmth of the morning wrapped around them, a cold thought settled in her chest. What now? They both knew the rules. An office romance, especially one between the CEO and his employee, was practically a scandal waiting to happen. Grayson Company was a powerhouse in the fashion industry, and Oliver's every move was scrutinized. If word got out, Sophia's career could be jeopardized. His reputation could take a hit, and worst of all, people would talk about favoritism, talk about manipulation, talk about how Sophia slept her way to the top. Just the thought made her stomach turn. "We have to be careful," she whispered that morning, running her fingers across Oliver's knuckles. He didn't reply immediately. Instead, he studied her, his gaze deep, searching. Then, finally, he nodded. "We'll be discreet." But deep down, they both knew. Secrets never stayed hidden for long. The scandal that shouldn't have happened. It started small, a side glance in the office, a fleeting touch when passing in the hallway, a private smile exchanged when no one was looking. They thought they were being careful, but the whispers began. Then came the looks, and then the headline. "Billionaire CEO Oliver Grayson in secret romance with employee. Inside sources reveal exclusive details." Sophia's blood ran cold. It was everywhere. Social media, news articles, gossip forums, pictures of them leaving the same restaurant, standing too close in an elevator, looking at each other for a second too long. Someone had seen them. Someone had talked. And now, everyone knew. The moment Sophia walked into the office, the atmosphere had changed. Co-workers who once smiled at her now whispered behind their hands. Some looked at her with pity, others with judgment. And the worst part? Her talent, her years of hard work. All of it was suddenly overshadowed. She was no longer seen as a rising star in the industry. She was now just Oliver Grayson's girl. A rumor, a scandal, a liability. And Oliver? He was called into a meeting with the board of directors. For the first time since she met him, he was forced into a corner. And the question that hung in the air was one he had never wanted to answer. His career or his love for her? That night, when Oliver walked into her apartment, he wasn't the same. His jaw was tight, his shoulders stiff. His usual unreadable expression was unreadable for all the wrong reasons, and she knew. Even before he said a word, she already knew. "Sophia." The way he said her name. Like it hurt to even say it. Felt like a knife to her chest. "I need to fix this." Her hands clenched at her sides. "Fix what?" She swallowed hard. "Me?" "No." His voice was quiet, but firm. "But the board, they're pressuring me. And if I don't—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Sophia felt her whole world tilting. This was the cost of their love, and Oliver was being forced to pay it. With her, the tension in the boardroom was suffocating. Oliver sat at the head of the long mahogany table, his fingers steepled together, his face unreadable. Around him, a panel of shareholders and executives stared at him with calculated expressions, waiting for his answer. The ultimatum had been clear. If you continue this relationship, you risk your reputation. The company's image is at stake, Oliver. They didn't need to say it outright. Sophia was the problem. And now they expected him to fix it. Oliver's jaw clenched. He had spent years building Grayson Company into a global powerhouse. His blood, sweat, and sacrifices had turned it into one of the most respected fashion empires in the industry. But none of that compared to what he felt for her, Sophia. He could lose everything. But what was the point of having everything if she wasn't part of it? That night, at the most prestigious fashion gala of the year, the world was watching. The event was packed with elite designers, celebrities, media outlets, all waiting for Oliver Grayson's next move. Dressed in an elegant black tuxedo, Oliver walked onto the stage, his presence commanding silence. The cameras flashed, the whispers hushed. He adjusted the microphone and looked directly into the sea of eyes before him. "Good evening, everyone." His voice was steady, but his heart pounded. "Tonight is a special night, not just because of the work we are about to unveil, but because of what it represents. Destiny, the choices we make, the people who change our lives forever." He paused, letting the words sink in. "For the past few weeks, the media has been curious about my personal life." A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd. "So tonight, I want to set the record straight." He turned his head. And there she was. Sophia. Standing at the edge of the stage, looking stunned, yet breathtaking in a deep emerald gown. "I love this woman." A collective gasp echoed in the hall. "And no amount of boardroom politics, rumors, or threats will change that." The audience erupted, some in shock, some in admiration, and some finally seeing the true Oliver Grayson for the first time. The curtains pulled back, revealing the first glimpse of Destiny, the newest collection under Grayson Company. A masterpiece. Each design, each fabric choice, told their love story. From the first night she met him, lost and confused, to the way their worlds collided in the workplace, to the moment he almost lost her. Every stitch held a piece of them. Sophia stood beside him, tears welling in her eyes. This was their story. And now, it belonged to the world. A few weeks later, in the golden light of dawn, Sophia woke up to the familiar warmth of Oliver's penthouse. But this time, she wasn't lost. She wasn't confused. She wasn't searching for answers. Because now, she had them. Turning over, she saw Oliver watching her, his usual stoic expression softened with something rare. Peace. And then, he reached into the drawer of his nightstand. A velvet box. Sophia froze. Her heartbeat thundered. Oliver slowly opened it, a delicate, elegant ring catching the first rays of morning sun. Sophia Hamilton. His voice was low, steady, certain. "Marry me." Tears blurred her vision. Her hands trembled as she reached for him, laughing and crying at the same time. And as he slipped the ring onto her finger, she whispered, "Yes." If you've made it this far, prove you're a true fan. Comment "love" below. Do you think Oliver and Sophia will truly live happily ever after? Or will new challenges test their love? Let us know your thoughts below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable love story. And if you think this story was intense, just wait until you see what we have coming next.